Like and subscribe right now, or you're going to have bad luck for the rest of the week.
You know, when it comes to disciplining students in school, how far is too far? It seems there are many cases where students of all ages are handed punishments that are totally disproportionate or inappropriate. From organizing a fake prom for a kid to suspending a kid for a pretend gun, let's have a look at 10 more of the worst school punishments ever. Let's begin. Number 10. Fake prom. What happens when your school's teachers are horrible bigots who want to punish you for being gay? Well, not something good, I can tell you that. This unusual school punishment directed at a single student, Constance McMillen, is guaranteed to leave you speechless. McMillan took her school to court after they denied her and her girlfriend the right to attend prom. She won, and the school was told to stop being like that. The school, though, decided nah and hosted a fake prom in a nearby town. The fake prom was attended by the principal and 5 other students, while the rest of the school was partying at the good prom. Oh, and 2 of those other students had learning disabilities. This guy is just waiting for his Principal of the Year award. The school district was forced to pay McMillan $35,000 for the bizarre humiliation they put her through. But while the settlement was helpful, it couldn't repair the trauma of being set up by both school administrators and her classmates. Number 9. High school student punished for MySpace page. On December 10th of 2016, high school senior Justin Layshaw created a MySpace profile page for the principal of his high school, Eric Trosk. The page included a picture of the principal from the school's website and listed a series of joke answers, mostly fat jokes, to the profile questions. Layshaw tried to remove the page after 3 days, but it had already been taken down. Then, on December 21st, both Layshaw and his mother were called into a meeting with the school superintendent, district solicitor, and the co-principal of the high school to discuss the MySpace page. After the meeting, Layshaw apologized to Principal Trosk in person and also sent him a formal letter of apology. He thought the matter ended there, but then Layshaw was contacted by the local police department and informed that Trosk had asked that harassment charges be filed against Layshaw. He was suspended from school for 10 days and then ordered to finish high school in the alternative education program. Layshaw contested the decision, and when his and his parents' requests to reconsider the harsh punishment were declined, filed suit against the school district. In 2010, the court ruled in his favor, and Layshaw was awarded $10,000 in damages from the school. Number 8. Burping. You better be careful the next time you feel something rumbling in your stomach, because burping might land you in jail. Alright, well, not in jail, but just juvie. In 2011, an Albuquerque student was taken away from school in a police cruiser, all because he had the audacity to burp in the gym. So, the teachers called the cops and had him hauled down to be tested at juvenile hall. The police quickly determined that this kid was not a problem, but they probably should have worked that out much earlier. I mean, did the teacher call 911? Hello, yes, I need you to put this monster in handcuffs. He's burping everywhere! What has the world come to? Number 7. Chopping off hair. One fine morning, Lamea Cameron sat in class, minding her own business and playing with the beads in her newly braided hair. A few minutes later, her teacher called her over to her desk. Cameron thought she was going to get a piece of candy, but what she got instead was shocking. Her teacher proceeded to grab a pair of scissors and chop a braid off. Lamea claimed that playing with her hair wasn't disruptive to others, though the teacher, whose name wasn't released, claimed that she cut the girl's hair because she was distracting other students. The incident happened in front of the whole class, who began laughing as Lamea went back to her desk, crying and embarrassed. The teacher has apologized for the incident, claiming she did it out of frustration. She was fined $175 for her bizarre act, but has been allowed to keep teaching. Now that is very less fine for such a big punishment. Number 6. The monster closet. There was a monster, and the monster was going to eat me. Those are the terrifying words of a 4-year-old that got locked in the awful monster closet. He was not the only one to be punished in such a creepy and also creative manner. A Texas pre-kindergarten teacher started locking unruly kids in a dusty room, the kind where the janitor typically keeps his things and a collection of mummified student corpses. Sometimes the evil educator and his sneaky aide would keep stuffing children in the closet until the entire classroom would obey in silence. One child cried so hard that he threw up and had to go home. The moment news reached the superintendent, the teacher and his sidekick lost their jobs. However, for some young ones, it was too little too late as they went into adulthood, always being afraid of their closets. Another teacher in Washington Elementary School allegedly locked 5-year-old Tanner Coggle in a small dark closet. He then forgot about him and left for home. The parents became worried that their child hadn't returned from class, so they went looking for him to the school. They found their son locked in the closet there, having urinated himself from fear. When did teachers become so heartless? Number 5. Eating lunch off the floor. No use crying over spilled milk, right? Well, except for students at the Charles Summer Elementary School in New Jersey. Apparently, in 2009, 5th graders at the school were required to eat their lunch off the floor as punishment for a student spilling a jug of water while refilling a cooler. In the lawsuit, the school's vice principal denied the story, claiming that the real reason was a lack of seats. School officials even threatened the children that they would be told to involuntarily stay there longer if they told anyone about their punishment. The lawsuit grew even more controversial when it was discovered that the students singled out by African American and Caucasian teachers were all of Hispanic descent. The bizarre punishment continued for 10 days and included students that were absent the day of the water spill. In the end, 7 of the students affected split a $500,000 settlement. Not bad for a few days of eating lunch off the floor, right? Number 4. Cone of shame. Florida is notorious for punishing students in the most humiliating ways. One teacher would discipline students by making them wear dog cones around their necks. The worst part is that the cones were used before by her dog and were just lying around her house. They proved just right to inflict shame on some of the 9th grade students that misbehaved during class. Dubbed the cone of shame, the punishment came to light after some of the students posted embarrassing pics of their peers on Facebook. You will be surprised to know that the dog cones were not fastened to prevent students from biting each other. No, the idiotic punishment came from something as simple as being late to class. Sometimes the teacher would randomly select a pupil just to remind everyone she's the alpha. You will be relieved to know that everything went back to normal in that Florida school. The teacher lost her job, and the poor soul she tormented found a haven at the local dog shelter. Their big, wet eyes now beg for student lovers to take them home and teach them math tricks. We're just joking, but have to agree, this is one of the worst and humiliating punishments we have heard of. Number 3. Written on the face. Learning and studying is already a hard enough punishment in school. Imagine your teacher writing stuff with a permanent marker on your face to make you memorize things. Some kids in Idaho don't even have to imagine that, as Summer Larson, a 4th grade teacher in Idaho, chose just that as a strange form of punishment for students not meeting their accelerated reading goal. Those that didn't meet the target were left with 2 choices: don't go out and play for recess, or allow the teacher to write on their face. Recess is important to kids, so 6 students gave the teacher permission for the latter. Parents were definitely not amused with their kids looking like coloring books and immediately took action against the teacher and school. While the kids had a choice, a hard one for that matter, because who would have wanted to miss recess? The punishment was seen as bizarre to those in the class that weren't the strongest readers. Number 2. Being hit for hitting. Sometimes to discipline a child, you just gotta give them a taste of their own medicine. But not if that means punching kids in the face. A Texas teacher knew that if she hit a child, she'd get fired. So she lined up the other students and encouraged them to punch their 5-year-old classmate in the face. Why? Because he punched a classmate in the face. So, a black eye for a black eye, right? Well, no, that's not how it works. You can't teach a kid not to hit by getting them beat up. The teacher was later fired. Number 1. Therapy bag. Modern education is so cutting edge. They began incorporating the methods of the bullies in the school curriculum. Otherwise, we can't explain what made a Kentucky teacher stuff 9-year-old Christopher Baker inside of a duffel bag. Can you imagine being the parent that hears his boy scream from inside a bag tossed in the hallway like a sack of potatoes? The kid was stuffed in a therapy bag, which was actually just a small duffel bag that the school teacher used to stuff the 9-year-old autistic boy into as a punishment. Third grader Baker was faced with this inhumane punishment simply for not doing his work. The story goes that a school staff struggled for minutes to unzip it. He said, "When I got him out of the bag, his poor little eyes were as big as $50 and he was sweating." The worst thing was that little Chris had autism. Guess who will have a hard time growing into a functional adult? Although awful, the penalty reminds us that there's always room for worse. Much older kids have been stuffed into bags too. Christopher was lucky to have all of his limbs attached. What's the worst memory of school that you have? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.